What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of 4 Dummies, and tonight I am joined with the other 3 dummies. I have Mrs. Skullface.
Hello.
I have Mr. Just One.
Yo, what's happening?
And I have Mr. Robert D.
You want some of this hot fire?
I'm going to put Dylon in that. So if you'd like to listen to the uncut episode of this, where we go into a tangent on things to come on Patreon, as well as things related to the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, feel free to check out the uncut, where you also get the full LOLs regarding the collection critiques. But for those that are just here for the video, welcome. You know the routine. Check your feelings at the door, and we'll start with our first entry. This is from Tyrant Ed. I have mixed feelings about this. I don't.
Is it because he does reviews and he's taking your thunder?
Does he do reviews?
Looks like
I don't know. It looks like a review.
It does look like it. So yeah, I hope you're not the like, subscribe, and comment type of reviewer. But I will say this: I don't think you have the worst DTOF setup I've ever seen. That being said, you certainly do not have the best DTOF setup I've ever seen.
Well, I like what he did with the boxes on the bottom. It makes it look like they're cubes.
kind of complete. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Yeah. I like more so the albums that he has on his wall. He's a big Manson fan. I'm a big Manson fan. And actually, it's just Manson records framed on the wall. But I love Marilyn Manson, so I'm with that.
So I'm going to tell you, I think there's nothing wrong with this dude's collection other than the fact that for our standards now and kind of what we're looking at and what we're looking to do, it's just dated. It looks nice.
I don't think you have the DTOFs figured out. Like, you have the classic DTOF problems. You've put orange or purple behind them, but that doesn't fix the problem. You know, you have a number of characters the same size standing in front of one another. I look specifically at the movie shelf with Springer, Cup, the Junkion, Blur, and RC. And they're all just standing in front of each other, and there's tons of vertical space. A couple of risers will help. I think with your puck lighting and your DTOFs, you have made the wrong choice. Right. I also think if you are committed to this, risers are the only thing that can salvage it. But I also think you should take the He-Man stuff out of there and put them in the DTOFs. They might look better. And then try to figure out something else for your Transformers.
There's a lot going on in here, and it's very neat. It's very neat.
100%. He cares.
All the extra color, I think some of these DTOFs maybe have a box in the background. It's too much. We have to either black out the back or pick something that is gonna just.
Well, he chose orange or purple for the back.
Yeah, but I'm saying no.
You're saying no. So the orange I think works great. I think the purple gets lost. Because that's my beef with Jisk's take on blacking out the backs. Is I actually think that the darker colors are the wrong choice. The stuff looks better against the orange, in my opinion, than the purple.
Hey, Bobby, I guess you can see the orange stuff better, but I guess I don't like those shelves as much because they're not as filled out. But yeah. I don't know. It's just visually a lot to take in. It's very busy.
I will say to you, what you were saying about blacking out the background, I did buy new furniture today, and it is white because I do think that white may be the way to make everything.
I think it's the way to go.
Shine. I think another problem too is and I understand everybody wants to display their stuff. Transformers only sit with Transformers, He-Man only sits with He-Man, and not that you want to mix them together, but don't be afraid to mix stuff up and thin stuff out. That's really the key thing I think for you is it's you have everything, and now you just got to start to make some crucial decisions where not everything should either be on display or is worthy of being on display or just can't be on display. So sometimes just taking stuff down, even though you want to show it all off, makes the world of difference.
Can I tell you what I see that he's figured out that it took me a while to figure out? So his review setup is sitting on top of a toolbox. Sir, I do acknowledge that you have a ministry sticker on the toolbox as well, which I also respect. But I say that to say this, the toolbox sitting within arm's reach of the review space is something that it took me probably 8 years to figure out. So I think your review space is actually a pretty nice setup and pretty advanced for, I imagine, the amount of time that you've been reviewing, but I don't know. I don't mean to pass judgment. I like the stuff on the walls. That's how I feel about it. I like the He-Man stuff. I like the Manson records. Even on the opposite wall where he's got his customization station. I like all that. I like the stuff on the floating shelves. I like that stuff.
Yeah, the bottom floating shelf though just looks empty compared to everything else so full.
I don't know if I agree.
I think it's workspace.
No, I thought you were talking about the most bottom one.
Oh, no, the second one.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, yeah, you got to fix that one. You got to fix that.
But it looks like it's a functional, maybe. He's storing some custom.
You wouldn't think to take the Metroplex, the Omega Supreme, and the Scorponok and put those on top of these Billies and then move those He-Man sets to the bottom?
Well, I
don't know if there's enough room. There may not be enough room, but
he's already blocking the pictures on the wall with this.
Yeah.
Look, You like He-Man, that's great. But it doesn't necessarily look on the same level as the stuff on your wall. So you're putting it in front of that stuff and it's blocking it. So either have it completely visible or block it with stuff that looks better, but right now you're blocking these cool albums with He-Man stuff.
And they are cool albums.
These floating shelves are so long. I wonder if some of that He-Man stuff couldn't actually go on one of the floating shelves and then switch like the pops or whatever they are up there.
Or if you just wrap the billies around. But also too, in thinking about this, looking at the last photo where it shows the whole space, I guess my viewpoint now is coming from like my space is something that gets seen by other people other than just me, right? Because now like it's my office that I use for work, so sometimes the stuff's in the background. If I have people over, we'll want to chill up in here. So I guess if your space isn't that, if it's not like a community space where you're inviting other people into it, then how you have it may work.
Yeah, I don't.
Do you know what I mean?
I think the general layout is right. I think it's a matter of dressing it. It's not dressed properly. I think the shelves work. I think the floating shelves work. I think the layout works. I just think risers, picking stuff up, better lights, blah blah. Like just dressing it, I think is the key.
Right.
I'm just saying because the Voltron corner, it just doesn't work. That's pretty prominent. My eyes go right to that. You got to figure that out.
That's vertical space.
Well, I feel like the Voltron could probably be relocated to the DTOF pretty successfully.
That's what I'm saying. It's all about moving things around and sorting them. Yeah. I don't think that you've made any critical errors. It's just about you got to redress it.
Yeah. I would rather see with these black shelves that you have, just make that all your biggest bots. Like I think that may look more striking with just one big bot in each cube.
Smart. Smart. All right, on to Eric R. And he's got some wood paneling going on. He's trying to keep it old school, which I respect. But I'm not.
It adds to that horror shelf. It does make it creepy.
That's a horror nona
with the red curtain.
Yeah. So the Megatron is the one, and the Cobra Commander they don't belong there.
No,
they don't belong there. Get them off of there.
Unless it's just bad guys.
Yeah, the rest of it's fine, especially with the kind of vintage
dresser.
Yeah, the dresser and the wood panel walls.
He's even got Jaws.
I love
Jaws
the Jaws. Yeah,
Jaws is like.
I think so. On this first picture with the horror stuff, I think if you're just going to keep it on that dresser, just risers. You can just get it where they just look like they're presented and a little bit like just upscaled a little bit. You can keep it on top of this dresser. I think it's just maybe get some risers so they're not all the same level, and there's a little bit more I guess care and consideration put into it.
I do.
He has floating corner shelves that have horror stuff on them as well.
Well laid out.
Why?
I think
this is the room you get murdered in while you're looking at these figures, man.
Yeah, but I think this works. It's all this like 80s nostalgic horror stuff, right? And then the room itself looks like something that would be found in an 80s nostalgic horror movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that's perfect. He's got like a huge Jason, like the one that's like with his mask off, that's all ate up on that floating shelf, and then the floating random stuff. Like it's like all. So like I think it only falls apart when he starts introducing the Star Wars stuff into it. Because the Star Wars stuff, I don't mean this in any kind of way, but I feel like Star Wars is a little bit more timeless. But all of this kind of like vintage horror stuff that's just existing within this space where it looks like some vintage horror could happen. Perfect. It's almost like the setting, like the room itself is in a 80s movie horror setting.
Right.
Like from a B movie. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's just circumstantial, right? Because it's just probably an older house with older decor or whatever. But like for the actual that he's put in there, I think it works.
Yeah, I don't even mind the Star Wars really.
Yeah, it's because it's contained to that corner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I don't like them on the floor.
What are
but they're tall. Where's you going to put those things, man? They're huge.
Elevate them. Even if you're going to display them, elevate them. But they look weird they look childish on the floor. If you elevate them, it looks like a statue. I mean, I don't know.
I like this.
You know what? Stick them in the DTOF.
I like the shelf that you got with like the tall Freddy and the glove, and I don't know what's in the middle. Like, so, yeah, I don't know. Just cool. I think you don't have too much stuff on the shelf. The stuff that you have fits. It works together, even though it's not none of them are from the same franchise. Again, I do think the Star Wars stuff doesn't fit just because it doesn't. It's just not like everything else.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't belong here.
Like, I don't mean this as an insult, but like your collection is as scary in what it's sitting in, and that's why it works.
Right. Maybe get rid of the DTOF. Like it's
exactly.
The only thing it doesn't fit in there.
The DTOF doesn't fit. The DTOF is too modern. It's too slick. You need something wretched in here.
Rusted. Something rusty. right? Like
Right.
literally like a rusty, skinny utility shelf.
Yeah, but I actually think you got a vibe going. You just got the Star Wars in here is it up.
And I feel like the ceiling's really low too.
But that's probably perfect. That's probably perfect.
You should send us a photo of this whole room, and it's okay. We won't, just whoever you have locked in there, just don't put them in the photo. We don't have to report you, but we just want to see this whole space together.
Yeah.
What's this thing though? What's this thing on the wall?
Is it the black box, the thermostat,
Yeah.
Robert?
Is that a thermostat?
I don't know,
Or
but
is it like
that's
a camera?
thermostat.
all right, let's move on to the next entry, which is from Tim Z. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a great view of the whole space, but we can start with the second picture. He's got shelves, and they're lit.
Yeah.
And they're white.
And they're white.
they're white.
And he's got risers, but they're still not right, man. They're still not right.
He's got it's the poses.
I don't like the
It's too
spotlight of color
No.
They're
on
too,
either top either.
they're too crowded.
Yeah, it's just
They're too
many
crowded.
things.
That's the problem here. You've got too much going on. You need more space, and that may be a logistical issue, and I respect that. But you either got to put some stuff away, or all right. So if you look at the shelf with the Jetfire, right, and he's got Blaster, he's got Skylinks, a couple little bots, all that works well. The problem is you have all this empty canvas space to put something meaningful, and you don't have anything there. And I know that you understand the concept of risers because you're using them. So that makes me think it's a logistical space issue, that you can't keep enough depth of space, right? Depth of space where you have the Blaster and you have the little bots in front of it, and then also have the risers to put something bigger behind it or smaller behind it to raise it up. So you're out of space.
Dude, what's up with this huge mannequin in the corner?
That's what I was just trying to zoom in. It won't let me zoom in.
I was like,
any
is that
further.
a person?
Looks like it has a gas mask on.
Your country needs you. Enlist. I don't know what that is. I need to see more of this room.
Yeah, it's hard. You got this huge Fallout statue, which is cool looking, but it's almost like it doesn't work because it's so big.
Is that what's all the way to the left?
To the left, Laura.
Yeah.
That's the Fallout.
No, I don't
So
know.
I think we're looking at just a bedroom here, and you got a lot of stuff.
It's hard to judge this because you didn't give us the whole space. Like, what you do need is you need more space. That much is obvious. However, I want to give you a compliment sandwich, and that is I think you have arguably the most impressive chug collection, at least top 5 that I've seen, because you have some quality pieces that elevate what chug means.
Right, and they're not overly crowded.
Yeah. So I tip my hat to you for that. But I think you're out of space. And I think you know you're out of space, and that's why you didn't give us the full room. So you got to sort that. And there's no way.
I like what he did though. I mean, for a chug, I tip my hat to him. Chug.
All right. So the last entry for the evening is Matt Tomy, the toy guy. So he uses some kind of calyx, and he has a lot of dioramas.
I think they look
debatable.
good.
Yeah, I think this is good.
Beautiful,
I do. I like it.
That wall anyway. Oh, look, a little scene.
Yeah.
Like the prison and everything.
The prisoners. Yep. I think you did a great job.
The sharks.
Yeah.
In a way, look,
He put a little jail cell with the guy behind the jail cell.
Yeah, that looks great.
Clever stuff.
I love how Laura was like, a little scene.
Yeah. No, I think this works, man.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Transformers display really well like this, isolated, and you have symmetry.
Yep.
Small symmetry.
Yep.
I really think he might be onto something here because the smaller boxes, it just really works. It breaks up the confusing visual detail you get displaying any long shelf.
I agree.
I really do like this.
It looks great. I think that even little things, right? Like he's willing to kind of sacrifice a whole cube to put one figure in if it makes sense.
Right.
That's respect because we all know how hard it is to accommodate all the characters. And he's like, you know what? This is worth it. And I respect that. I think
Bobby,
he did great.
look at the bottom left outside of the shelf. Do you know what that is?
A little
Squishmallow.
squishmallow.
That is a Dragon Ball Squishmallow.
Great.
That's a Dragon Ball.
I
think
it's off to him.
Well, let me just say, if that one thing, I would just change the LEDs you have at the top of the.
I don't hate it.
They're on Broadway.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't know.
I
Just
hate
when
it.
it's dotted like that, it just throws my eye off. But
I think I'd be okay if you did change it, but I also don't hate it. I like that you can't see the lights in the cubes. That's more important to me than not seeing the lights on the floor where the bots are standing. It's almost like a landing strip, so to speak.
No, you're all wrong. He should have them linking arms, hands on shoulders, and they're all doing like a chorus line kick. Yes.
But honestly, I wouldn't hate that either because it's just you're stepping out doing something else other than just standing there. He's not having him just stand there in this one, but I'm saying just what most people do. Somebody was like, hey, they had them all in like a chorus line where they all have a leg out. I think would be funny.
I think there are a few cubes where you haven't taken full advantage of the space. Like I look at the one next to Prime, Sunstreaker, and Hound, the one with Jazz, Cliffjumper, and Bumblebee. I feel like there's more you could do in there if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Like if you look down at the lower right-hand shelf, you got all the Dadsons, you got Sunstreak, you got, a side swipe, you got mini bots, you got tracks, you got everything. Like maybe that's a little overcrowded. Maybe if you brought a bigger bot up there to stand behind Bumblebee, that might look a little better. Just little tiny kind of fixing. But that's not my biggest criticism of this setup. My biggest criticism of this setup is I think you've done a great job here. This is my favorite that we've looked at tonight by far.
Yeah, agreed.
That being said, if you do sidewall deco for your dioramas, it will change the game for you. The black walls on each side of everything, if you were to put the same, because you just did, it looks like printouts, right? Of like the movie backgrounds and such for the backgrounds. If you were to do some sort of wraparound where you could put another, whatever it is, 12 by 14 or whatever print, glue it to the side or tape it to the side, whatever you've used for the backgrounds, I think that would be chef's kiss.
So I don't know. Yeah. I almost feel like that would make it too busy.
I disagree.
Personally. Just only because they're so small. Like the boxes are so small. I feel like...
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either.
But you could do it in a way if you really took into account like some perspective, you could make those cubes look bigger.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is great. And I think you're like well on your way. I think you have some that are a little overcrowded and some that need some extras. And if you kind of start splitting the difference between the two, you'll be perfect. I think you have a great setup. Well done. Cheers.
Diddy.
Hot fire. This one's for Bobby. I want slag.
A blue ribbon.